Okay, we are go.
Episode 15, right?
Episode 15, or Season 2, Episode 2.
Season 2, Episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And today we're visiting some training heroes.
Like martial arts heroes in general.
Um,
and before we get started, today we're getting near the end of the Snow Angel. So I'm dolling it up a little bit. Today we're having Snow Angel with Irish butter and agave.
It's the Irish butter. You have no idea what it does.
It's amazing.
It's truly next level.
Yeah. Boom.
Naturally softer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it smells so good. Oh, I love Snow Angel.
It's the best.
Of course, out of our Deadpool, Batman mugs, respectively.
Always.
God, it's good. Yeah, with the agave, that's nice too.
Isn't it nice? Yeah.
So last week was kind of the jumping point for Season 2, Episode 1, which was kind of revisiting Trusting the Process.
And that's keep trusting it.
Up on all of our platforms now. So go watch that.
Yep. Listen to that. It'll be up on YouTube in a second. YouTube is fickle for me right now.
YouTube is being whack.
PODBEAN is quick and beautiful.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, heroes. I think in martial arts people have good heroes and bad heroes.
Well, yeah. All right, so, I'll take you back. Let me tell you a little bit of a story. Not my earliest memory, but one of my earliest memories. I was 3 years old, and I'm standing in my living room watching reruns of Kung Fu, which my mother said I've done since I was an infant, since I was born. She could sit me in front of a TV with Kung Fu on.
You're good.
And I was probably legally blind, so that's even funnier. But yeah, she's like, yeah, you loved that show from the moment you were born. And I remember 3 years old, I'm standing there and I'm watching it. I'm listening to Master Po telling a story, and I'm like, yeah, when I grow up, I want to be like the cool old Kung Fu master that tells the good stories. That's what I want to be.
Yeah.
At 3, I kind of decided.
You're like, I want to be that guy.
I'm going to be
Master
that.
Splinter.
Master Po all the way. So that's probably my first Kung Fu hero, my first martial arts hero I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Entered
I feel
my
like that's everyone's
lexicon real quick.
Yep.
What?
He was my initial, I'd say, as well. Bruce Lee. I think I saw Enter the Dragon when I was 9 or something. Just kind of watched it, and that was the beginning of it. And I was like, oh, nunchucks and everything. I want to do everything. Everything, yeah.
Original Thundercats, the 80s one.
Oh, yeah.
Panthro had nunchucks. I had a red and blue pair of nunchucks I'd whack myself with the head with all the time.
Panthro was definitely the inspiration behind that, for sure.
Panthro's the man.
Him and, of course, Michelangelo of the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah. Michelangelo, obviously.
But I think every kid is kind of initially exposed to good and evil, and then it shows. I guess you can kind of start to pick out. For me, when I was a kid, I wanted to be very similar, Master Splinter, telling stories, and just having experiences to back those up, blah blah blah. So I think every kid could envision themselves doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't think every kid grows up to be that. Obviously, close to no one does.
Yeah, almost no one. Yeah, but it's people let go of their dreams.
Yeah,
man.
We're sticking to the martial path, dog.
Stick to it. Tough it out, yo. Yeah. Well, that's why Robin was created. 2 reasons. One, to give Batman someone to talk to, because thought bubbles weren't necessarily a thing in the 30s.
Right.
And so it was just Batman sitting there.
Dialogue.
And then, no dialogue. Just, Batman sitting there, and then someone robbing something, and Batman sitting there.
Beating their ass at the end.
Yeah, the end. And so they're like, well, let's give Batman someone to talk to. He needs a sidekick.
Yeah.
And they created Robin, but also, the other reason they created Robin was it was easier to think you could be Batman's sidekick than you could be Batman.
Yeah.
It was sort of a marketing ploy in that respect of that.
There's another level.
Dream to be Robin and hang out with Batman.
Right.
It's a little easier jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just the apprenticeship type.
The apprenticeship thing is big,
relationship, especially in martial arts. It's gone away and I think it's not gone away, but it's lesser than it was.
It's much lesser than it was, but I don't know if it got corrupted by movies or like weird cultural transitions.
I think social media exposed a lot of it.
Social media probably exposed, like, because I know as a former apprentice, and under a few different people, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably, none of that would have happened today.
Yeah, like looking back on some of the stuff, like just like.
Because you kind of came right at the tail end of that.
Yeah.
You were like the last, really.
And just like the cultural climate, I guess, like that was the last time you could probably get away with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Nowadays, like I say that like I'm fucking old or something, but nowadays, like the second something happens, it's gonna be like blasted all over social media. It's in your face. 10 people have made up weird comments about it. Just like further the weird thing. So
because I mean it's done like good and evil. It's that give and take.
Right.
Of sometimes that apprenticeship is good.
Yeah.
If you get with a good person, and there's boundaries to it, and there's a certain purpose to it, it's a nice thing. But if you find yourself mowing your master's lawn with a catheter in when you should be in the hospital, that personal story.
Right. Doing your laundry or some shit.
Yeah, I definitely did that sometimes. That went a little too far.
Right.
But I'm not above teaching someone how to do laundry. I don't expect you to do mine.
No.
But because I'm kind of particular about my laundry, I have a lot of uniforms. But
I do things the right way.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I think it got abused. Like
very much so.
That apprenticeship, that mentorship relationship was just obviously abused by the wrong people, and then that kind of almost like became part of the culture. It's like good master, bad master. Like,
good master, bad master. Yeah, the whole Karate Kid thing,
Right.
Miyagi versus Kreese. But now with season 2 of Cobra Kai coming out, you're getting to see those nuances. Like, oh dang,
there's two sides.
Johnny was bad for a reason, but like now I kind of want him to win.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Okay.
I think, it's a really good example of that. But just people always thinking that, like, for instance, like when I was coming up, social media was still very prominent, but it wasn't like quite as prominent. It was just like
wasn't as accessible.
Basically, it's basically still just like chat room esque, and there's like people talking shit.
Yeah.
And it was just a really strange thing to witness, I guess, and just like be a part of, like as a kid.
'Cause I really didn't get into it until it was like mainstream.
So like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like I learned a lot of just by observation, like learned a ton about what not to do in those situations. And stuff
nice.
Like that.
Okay.
Like that's sort of what I'm getting at. Just like kind of taking myself away and just observing it, and just being like, oh, this is fucking weird. This is fucking weird, and just kind of taking note. And then
I just took my teeth out.
Nice.
Took my retainer out. That's weird too.
Straight. But I think just the relationship there starts to get strained, or like the blinds start to get blurred, and like that's where it starts to get into like a slippery slope.
When keyboard warriors have to either back up the keyboard or become what they type.
Right.
Everyone's got guts online.
Yeah. And then you put them in the match. Then it's
put them in the match. Or just like you say you're going to treat a person a certain way, and then they expect you to do that, or like you live up to your whatever.
Right.
Like it's weird, man.
Yeah. Rayan Hall years ago had just like an open letter to the Jiu Jitsu community about just hero worship and martial arts. Yeah. And that was after he had left.
Who was he
Lloyd
under?
Irvin.
Who? Was it Lloyd Irvin?
I believe he left Maryland and then went to DC to start his own joint.
Okay. He's like in Northern Virginia now. Yeah.
And now, like right now, today, like Gordon Ryan and Andre Galvo are going at each other, and he just kicked Keenan out. Keenan Cornelious out of Atos.
Oh no way! I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Because Keenan seems like a nice dude to me.
He is.
But he also seems like a brutally honest kind of dude. I think maybe he's moving that way.
Well, he's focused on his stuff, and he's getting attention with it. And he was a prospect before he came to Atos, so like now I was reading articles about it and just trying to piece together what it was. Like, obviously, I won't know because I wasn't there.
Not there, yeah.
But reading what I'm gathering, it's a lot of, like, the hero worship, my way or the highway kind of thing. Like, and Keenan's just, like, not playing into it. Like,
that's funny, because Atos is a super gym.
Right.
It seems it was always created for the best people to come hang out with each other.
Right.
So why would Galvo be pissed if it's unusual?
And now it's, I don't know if it, because some of the articles I've read were talking about how he is directly and just diametrically opposed to, like, what they do there. Like, a lot of them use PEDs. He's directly outspoken about that, about not using them. He's
is the training weird too? I mean, do they just beat each other up all the time? Or?
That's what I've known. That's the thing. Like, they wanted several other team members to be, like, the face of Atos, and, like, Keenan was still, like, the guy. He's still...
Oh, he's the most visible, though.
Yeah, he's the most visible and the most dominant.
He makes himself the most visible, and he's very dominant. Mm-hmm. You know, he's not... Like, he's kind of in and out of the scene, but he's...
Yeah, and, like, from what I'm gathering, it's like... It's like they want, you know, all the credit to go back to Atos and Andre Galvo and this and that. Like, which is... probably part of his training and part of his journey, but he can't attribute everything in his life to, to that part of it. I kind of get that. I do. I kind of get that, actually. I kind of went through a pre-social media, I'm not that good at this stuff kind of version of that. But that is weird. Because Atos, from the beginning, at least from my perspective as an outsider looking at it, was clearly just a super gym. Right.
It was just all the best guys come here. You know, fly our flag, come train here. It's just good training partner action. Right? That's really what it seemed like.
That's what I gathered from it.
Why would the dude that runs it be pissed that he wasn't the focal point when it's initially, it didn't even seem like it was supposed to be that.
Right. And that's...
But then, initially if you make a super gym, then maybe you think you're the super part of the gym.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, even if you I think it can morph into that. Even if you start a gym with the best intentions and this and that, I think you can absolutely just morph it into.
It can definitely just go down.
Power hungry, just nuts. Like, and I've seen that happen too. Like,
I lived through that.
Much smaller scale, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's funny because we say smaller scale, but it's much less noticeable scale.
Right.
It's the exact same story.
Just different.
Just different
scale.
People. You know,
we're not famous.
We're not famous. You know, we're not super. We're not the top of the heap. You know, but the same story happened. But then you look back, okay, why the hell did the story happen?
Yeah.
It's always the same reasons. Mm-hmm. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's very, And
it's just, I don't know, like, it seems like a lot in Jiu Jitsu, like, you have people wanting to keep other people under their thumb. Like, oh, you're on my team.
It's a martial arts thing in general, dude.
It is. And, just keeping thumb on people. And, like, we've both experienced that. And, like, it still goes on. And, like, it's vocal, it's out there, but it doesn't change necessarily. It doesn't be. It's almost like an abusive thing because you're like, oh, mine's different, or this is different.
Well, I mean, it's clearly. I mean, if I have, I'm a kind of a psychology nut, but because I like to communicate with people.
Yeah.
And it's all very classic, like codependency, abuse victim stuff.
Yeah.
But no one ever looks at themselves like that. But no one that's being abused looks at themselves as someone's being abused.
Right.
It's
not me.
That's not happening to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming from that's the thing. Like, if you want to call it an abusive environment, like, sure it was, but, like, not like some other people's. Like, I understand.
It's a different thing, but it's once again that whole scale of mentality. It's the same sort of process, but how extreme is it?
Yeah, and but the processes of chipping away and getting inside and taking advantage of that is the same. And you hear it in other martial arts and other gyms and other this. It's very prominent. I don't know if it is like natural for it to morph into that, or if it's just a person-to-person thing.
I think it's a person-to-person thing. I think it's too. People don't look at their culture from the outside.
Yeah. There's like, this is how we're doing it.
This is how I did it. So this is how I was taught. So this is how I'm going to do it.
And I think that's probably the most dangerous way to do anything.
Super dangerous, man. But yeah, I think that, like, going back to your social media thing, is because that's opened up, people have seen a new way. And so, I don't know, a weird example for me is belt tests.
Yep.
I didn't know any other way for a long time, even though I had a problem with them. And it got to a point when by the time I was like a 3rd degree black belt, I just started taking every test, even though I was an instructor, so people could cheat off me.
Sure.
Because I thought the tests were bullshit.
Right.
And so, but like, that was the system. And so I'd just be like, I'm going to be up front, guys. And I tell everyone, if you get nervous, look at me. I'll do everything right.
Yeah.
And literally, that's what I did. And I didn't know any other way, but I didn't like the way that I was doing it. And then I found, then you know, years and years later, when I find jiu-jitsu, and there are no belt tests. And there are, it's just come and train, and there's a promotion, or sometimes your instructors comes up and hands you the belt.
A stripe or a belt, yeah.
You get a stripe or a belt, or they have, like, you know, the promotion ceremony where you just sit there and watch everyone get stripes and belts.
Teammates
like,
get promoted. And
you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, and I prefer that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the system. I didn't know the other way. You know, and so it's cool to have been exposed to different things.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you don't ever leave your house, how are you going to know what the world's like?
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I mean, all right, another example. I lived in China when I turned 20 in China. Long ago. Back in the 1500s.
Eons.
Yeah, eons ago now. But I turned 20 in China, and that was a cool ass birthday party. There's a lot of cake being splashed on walls, because like how you eat cake with chopsticks. But it just turns into a food fight. But I got to see the United States from an outsider perspective. No one ever thought I was from the U.S. They all thought I was Canadian. And I'm like, why do you guys think I'm Canadian? It's like, because you're skinny and nice. I'm like, okay.
Makes sense.
And I'm like, stereotypes are weird. And then I'd see the stereotype being fulfilled. I'd be like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Why are those the people that travel?
Yeah.
You know,
like, that's the guy.
Yeah. And so now, like, but then I've been, you know, in it, you know, then I went to Korea and got to kind of see South Korea as a place, not as a concept. And then I came back and I was like, man, this is all bullshit. Yeah. And another thing that's kind of shaped the way I look at things is it made it a lot easier for me to step outside of the situation and say, all right, where pieces are in play.
Yeah.
All right, I understand this. You know, do I want to be one of the pieces, or I'm done? And it's a lot easier for me to separate.
Yeah.
You know, but it took a long time. I had to go through, I mean, you know, that was a good 10 years of development before, after China, it was a good 10 years of development before I was able to really.
So going to China, like during that time, like prior or post, like what was your timeline on like splits and like weird stuff? Like what was your mentality when you were there?
Oh, okay. So my
I mean?
mentality as I was there, the school I was at the time, it's funny, I judge everything by training and injuries. You could tell. But the school was starting to fall apart. There was starting to be some infighting. It was starting to get weird. It was really strange. And I remember I was teaching class one night, and I thought, I need to get the fuck out of here. I never thought that before in my life. I never not wanted to be there.
It usually comes in your mind like a lightning bolt. It's like, get the fuck out. And you're like,
oh, it scared me so bad I left the country.
Yep.
Like, I had the opportunity to leave, so I left. I was gone for like 4 months. I wasn't gone for a long time. And I came back. And I remember before I left, my girlfriend at the time, she had lived abroad for like a year in high school. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you're going to be gone long enough that everyone's going to change. You're going to change. I'm going to change. We ended up breaking up while we were in China, too. That's a crazy story. It's changed, right? But she's like, you're all going to grow. We're all going to keep growing, but we're going to be apart. So you're going to come back, and it's going to be different. She's like, I don't know how it's going to be different, but it'll be different. And I came back, and I was like, oh, shit, it is. You know, because I was waiting, because she was right. Mm-hmm. I knew she was right, so I was waiting for that to happen. And I came back, and, shortly after, the school kind of fell apart. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I came back was for the damn school. Yeah. And like, I had a job off. I could have re-signed as an English teacher. I could have went and worked at a coffee shop in Hong Kong. I would know Donnie Yen by now. Exactly. Be in action kung fu movies would be great, right? Mm-hmm. That's where my mind goes. But that fell apart. But kind of as that was falling apart, we'd already been training up here, so we transferred to a school up here. Mm-hmm. And things were weird with my teacher down in A-Town, but we worked it out because I love Doc, man. She's the best. And we're up here at this school, and then the school up here that fell apart, and so I left with one of the other owners that left, and then that kind of turned into that weird journey, and I ended up moving up here to teach at that school, and repay my debt because I have honor.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Debt is paid, my friend. Honor's fulfilled. Right. But as that started out as something good, with just there was a tinge of negativity there. I remember when it started, and I remember thinking, that's not cool. We can't cultivate that. But then over the years, it built and it built and it built until it fell apart. And once that place fell apart, I was done.
Yeah.
Like, I trained at another friend's school for a little while, just kind of as a transition phase. And my whole family was still training, so they were kind of training there for a while, and then they kind of dropped out. And I was like, I'm done.
Wasn't the same, yeah.
Yeah, I'm done. And then I kind of stepped away.
Yeah.
And I boxed for a few years, and then I completely stepped away, and then I was like, my legs work again. I think I'll do Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah. And
so
here we are today.
There's the life, and here we are today.
Yeah. That sort of happened on my end too, but I was staying and things were rotating. So I was just like the constant sort of in terms of just like being there.
You're the happy little center of the universe.
Everything was changing. I'm just sitting there with like a deer in the headlights look, like whatever. I just want.
And you were a kid too. Like, you didn't know what's going on.
I didn't know what it meant and shit. So I was like, whatever. I just want to keep training. So that's why I was there.
See, that was me too. It's just I want to train. So
I want to train and train consistently, and I like it here. So that's what kept you going there.
Definitely know, man.
But that also is kind of the downfall. Being glued into that sort of thing, like put the blinders on
and just go. Well, the one caveat for both of us, I think, is we're both telling these stories from long enough ago that there wasn't a lot of choice. There weren't a lot of places to train.
Right.
That's a fly. It's a big fly somewhere. Sorry. All right. There weren't a lot of places to train, so leaving meant not training at all anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas now, there's a lot more, I would hope, good schools to train at. And there's options.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, at that time, I mean, shit, back then, like, the jiu-jitsu community isn't that big. Like, everyone knows each other in some way, shape, or form.
The martial arts community in general isn't that big.
Exactly.
We all know each other somehow.
Yeah, and, like, why, just in a weird way, like, why would you be, like, divisive? Like, we're the only people that do this stuff. Like, why would we have to be weird about it, Like, why can't we come and do cool shit? Like, collaborate?
Why can't we all just be friends? Because we're all on the same weird.
Yeah. Like, I was just talking to someone about this earlier. Like, sometimes people outgrow stuff. Like, outgrow environments, outgrow whatever, and it's fine if they leave. Like, it doesn't have to be a weird, contentious, like, oh, they fucking left thing, like, they're growing and expanding, and this was their home, and now they're going to make a new one, and you can go there. Like, why does it have to be like, oh, they have to stay here forever and fly our flag? And obviously I did buy into that for a while, and then
clearly,
now I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, why would you ever do that? Like, why would you limit yourself that way? And I guess that's where, like, you can get in trouble with blind loyalty and honor and stuff, like keeping, like, oh, just see it through, like, see it through to the fucking end, like.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it through to the end a few times, guys.
Exactly.
Do it.
But that also taught me, I was like, you can rebuild.
Yeah, you can totally rebuild. It's very possible to rebuild, and I mean, having, I'm on my second jiu-jitsu school now. I'm a full creonch, all right, but.
Just in a real word.
Isn't a real word? No, yeah. But I'll give you two examples of that one. One, when I had to stop boxing. Boxing was like a fucking gift from the universe for me. My coach was the perfect coach that I needed at the time. Just like a guy that would just teach me some stuff and leave me alone. And then we would have like a cool little conversation here and there, and that was it. That was cool. And when I just kind of didn't have time anymore. I was only going like once a week or like every other week, and it just got bad.
Yeah.
And I just kind of walked up to him one day, and I was like, man, I got to quit. I don't have any time. And I'm a grown-ass man at the time. It's so funny. Right. He's not that much older than me.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and says, it's okay. I understand. And that was it.
Yeah.
And that made me feel so good.
Yeah. I've had a few, like, that chat with a few coaches. And, like, some have had really good reactions, and I've had really bad reactions. So, like, I understand that, like, the feeling of
when I had that chat with you,
it
was very similar.
I was
You're like,
cool, dude.
do what you do, man. Do what you do. It's
You
cool.
got to do what you got to do. Like,
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah.
That is learned behavior. Well, I should say it's observed and learned behavior, because I observed the...
You observed the other end of it.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck that. Anyone ever comes to me and is like, hey, I'm going to leave, I'm going to be like, fuck yeah, cool. Like, come back and train if you want sometimes. Like, I'd love to see what you're learning. Like, I had a friend go out to... He was here, and then he moved out to Oregon, went and started training 10th Planet stuff, and, like, he ended up not staying out there, but he started to come back, and he brought some amazing, cool stuff into the environment.
Yes,
so,
that's
like,
fun.
Like, it's great.
Train with other people, learn new things, man. Yeah.
And I think it'll boil down to, like, it boils down to an ego thing and stuff as an instructor, to be like, well, I'm right. I want to be right, and I want my people to listen to me, and I want... Well, I don't know if that's like a...
That's part of it, but that's sort of... I don't want to say the made up part. It's the insecurity part of it. But the other part is you got to pay your bills. Yeah. If people are leaving your school, their tuition is leaving. Sure. Yeah. You know, and so sometimes people get, especially in a, I don't know. I mean, I know this from when a school became unsuccessful, that the owner's head got real big, and that's what really started the snowball effect. I've never seen it in a successful school, say the Atos example. I know they're making plenty of money. Yeah.
They expand massive facilities.
Yeah. And so, but I don't know, like, their reasons. So, I mean, maybe that's just purely egotistical. Sure. But sometimes you get that money pressure, man. And you squeeze too tight.
And even, I understand that, but I'd be transparent, I guess. Like, I'd be like, yo, school's hurting. You know, we need help. Well, I wouldn't be, like, manipulating people to, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it kind of goes back to what kind of instructor are you? Are you the perfect instructor, or are you the instructor that learns from their mistakes? Yeah. And is open about that. I screw things up sometimes. I get beat by students sometimes. Or are you the instructor that's perfect all the time? The instructor I'm referring to was one of those perfect all the time kind of people. You know, and then anytime he would get beat or someone would do something better, he wouldn't, maybe he would flip out right there, but it would build.
Get sucked out of the room. You're like, what the fuck?
What happened?
Chillier. Like, ugh, I hate that shit.
And it's that kind of thing. So yeah, it comes from sort of the place of paying the bills, but it also comes from the place of how did you initially create the environment? What do you act like?
Well, yeah, like, and it's just like what it'll boil down to, like, do you take care of people or not? Like, can you put the person before the money, or this or that, or, you know? Yeah. And I understand, like, especially as a business owner, like, you have to fucking keep the lights on. You have to keep your shit chugging along, but...
But, yeah, how do you do that?
But I think there's a line where you lose... better way? Yeah, you lose the humanity with it, and you lose the...
I mean, and once you lose the humanity, it falls apart.
It's all fucked.
It's completely fucked.
Again, look at one of our old episodes. It all boils down to love.
Straight up.
So if you pump anything but that at the base, it's going to trickle, and it's going to fucking...
It's going to be destroyed.
It's going to be toxic, and, like... toxicity and toxic environments and shit, you know, that's a word and phrase being thrown around a lot anymore, but, like, it's thrown around a lot now, but
it didn't used to be. To see it, actually know where it comes from and why it gets thrown around
and
now.
Look at the seed of it. Yeah,
you can kind of see, you look back and see where things begin. Yeah. All right, so we're drawing this back into martial arts here, as we kind of got sucked down the evil path. Yeah. Of what happens when your hero is human, and that's kind of, I think both of us are talking about that. We ended up training with people we really looked up to, and they were people. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. I didn't think you were a person. You just destroyer. Awesome. Yeah. No. Yeah. Real people with, like flaws. Yeah, with total flaws. All right, so let's go the other way. Say people you don't necessarily get to train with. Say comic book characters or movies. Like, I love me some Donnie Yen, bro. Yeah.
I was, as a kid, like as a little kid, I really liked Billy the Kid. Like, I was obsessed
with
Billy the Kid, and like...
I need to get Young Guns.
Oh, dude, I love Young Guns. I love those movies. Good. Such a good movie. But I read a lot about Billy the Kid, and just like, I understood his leadership his
pretty engaging dude.
Yeah, he had a vision,
charisma,
and it wasn't conventional. but the charisma that kind of fueled that. I was like, that's interesting, because like as a kid, I was like, I'm not very charismatic. I'm going to look at a charismatic person and be like, blah blah blah. So
learn from that person.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
I
like,
do that. Yeah.
Shooting off one-liners, being
one-liners are a thing. Yeah,
like that,
watch your movies and read your comics. Get those good one-liners.
You get your wit from stuff like that.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast this morning, an interview, a woman named I can never remember her name at the time. I'll put it up there. But she's all about communication.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's wrong with my brain today. But Vanessa Van something. All right. Van something. Yeah, but she's all about communication. And she was like, all right, you want to know how you walk into a room, like a party of people you don't know, and you want to like get to know people, and people want to like. So don't worry about people liking you. Don't worry about saying one-liners. Find a way to like everybody. No matter who you're talking to, talk to them and find a way to like them, as if you were going to introduce them to somebody for an interview later. And then that's your line of questioning. You pay attention, find out about them, find a way to like them, for you to like them, not for them to like you. And your Billy the Kid thing kind of made me think of that.
Yeah.
That's one of the kind of the essence of charisma of, as a teacher, naming a story about everybody is what I always say.
Sure.
But how do you do that? You find a way to like that person, regardless of their age or anything.
Yep. I think that's either like whether you're conscious or it's a subconscious thing. You're like, that's the link. There's like an immediate link, and you're like, oh, that's my thing to them. That's my one of my guys that he's kind of quiet. Like he's newer, but like he's been around for a minute. Very humble. I like having him around a lot. He rolls great. But he's just quiet, So I was just like, and I didn't want to like poke and prod and be like, yo, like what, So I was just waiting.
Yeah.
Came out. He has like 2 pit bulls.
Oh, cool.
I'm like, oh dang, like I have a pit bull. That's like my link,
Yeah, there you go.
On top, that's just like I want to make a human link. Like we're there to fight each other and to learn combat, but I want to make a human link.
But you're friends, man. Yeah. You're helping each other.
Yeah. So I'm like,
And maybe that's Atos's problem.
Maybe
there's not the human link there right now. Maybe it's just, you're good, I'm good. Let's butt heads. I don't know.
And I don't know. Yeah. It's not, again, like, I would love to be like a fly on the wall for a month over there.
Oh, hell yeah,
just to see the jiu-jitsu, but...
Yeah, really. Taking
notes.
To
see the inner workings of what goes on outside of jiu-jitsu. Because that's important, too.
That's fun. That's the fun part, man.
Environment before and after class. That'll tell you a lot about a school.
It will. And it's funny, because you'll have your initial assessment of it, but then you got to be there for a while to kind of get a reference point for that environment.
Yeah.
Because maybe people don't talk a lot. Maybe they don't do much. But maybe the school's really cool.
Yeah.
And that's part of why it's cool. Mm-hmm. Or, there's all kinds of weird things going on. Yeah.
And I think, like, the openness with jiu-jitsu, like, it's not as formal and as rigid as...
as
taekwondo or anything like that. So,
as other martial arts, especially.
So it's not unheard of for someone to be like, "Hey, you want to roll?" and like ask me to roll. I wouldn't be like, "Fuck no!" Like I'm a brown belt. You don't ask brown belt.
Don't ask
fuck
me.
yeah, I want to roll. Like that's what we're fucking here for.
We're here for, dude. That's what we do.
That's my job.
Yeah.
I want to, and it's fun. So like, I don't understand that. Yeah. Whether it's just again comes back to the insecurity of skills or you have to guard your rank or whatever. But
so all right, I want to ask us a question, because here we are trying to talk about our heroes, and we keep delving into this weirdness of like why this place is screwed up or why this place is good. All right, so there's got to be a reason for that. So let's walk it back. Are we initially looking for certain character traits or skill traits, and then we find more, or because I thought this was going to be like a pretty much straightforward, like, why do you like Jackie Chan? That's why I like Jackie Chan. It's kind of not.
Yeah, I think you want to like find someone who like resonates on the same frequency as for martial arts as you. Someone who gets the same kind of buzz or excitement about an angle or something like that. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
If you tune into them, like that's like. I don't want to get negative. I was going to be like, that's the danger of charisma. I was like,
danger of charisma.
I don't want to get negative.
Dangerous charisma.
Yeah, but...
I can't wait to find that meme.
Right. But the... No, see, all I want to do is go negative with it. I'm trying to go positive.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough today.
Just because we have so much... I don't want to say so much negative experience. We just have experience with the other side. But
the experience, yeah, I guess with the other side. So, okay, let's go positive.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take... I'm just going to pick a place to start. Let's take Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
Donnie Yen has genres of films that he does. My favorite version of what Donnie Yen does is what I would call the Kung Fu Cop drama. Flashpoint, Special ID, was it Killzone in the United States? Yeah, it's called Killzone in the US. Kung Fu Cop drama. All right, he does a lot of MMA and a lot of movie-style jiu-jitsu is what I would call it, because it's a bit bigger.
Flashy.
And not say flashy, just noticeable.
Like John Wick throwing and over the top.
Yeah, it's bigger. It's so the camera can see
motion,
it. Yeah, right? And so for me, I love that shit. Like, I want to, like, every time I get someone in a Mateleo or rear naked choke, I scream, ah, like I'm under a tree,
yeah,
killing a dude. Yeah, like from Flashpoint.
Right.
But so that's the kind of thing I like to look for, the opportunities to sort of live out the fight scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the opportunity to come out on top, the opportunity to prevail.
The opportunity to prevail, or I've been listening to some deep ass music lately.
Yeah.
I've got some good stuff. I have to show it to you. But I was listening to this song, and it was like it was a fight scene in the rain where you don't save her, like she dies. And I was like, man, this fucking hurts me.
Yeah.
But that's a good movie.
Yeah.
That's a good scene. That's a Korean movie right there.
Right.
But thinking of a couple, but it's that too, is that you can kind of just dig down into the depths of just pain and work it out there.
So is that part of it, you think, like almost like a masochistic, like dig for the pain, see if you can handle it thing, or what do you think?
I go both ways. Sometimes it was dig to the pain to see if I can handle it, or it's just I need to work some shit out,
right?
And I like to do that while I'm fighting, because in a flow state, hypotransient frontality, where your frontal brain turns off, the inner Woody Allen goes away, and then the back of your brain just gets to work it out in your subconscious.
You're just working.
But I'm all about movement meditation. Like, I'll sit and do the thing sometimes, but I'd rather just be fighting somebody. I'd rather be rolling to get into a flow state. And then while I'm in that flow state,
it's your time.
The pain works away. It works through it, But then, I like the positive end of that too. So it's but then I always draw it back to a good fight scene. That's my way in.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you can have your triumph, you can have your tragedy, you can have your emotional experience in a 5-minute roll.
Yeah.
And what is that today? If you're looking at martial arts heroes, I would bring up Donnie Yen because he's the best at making, currently the best at making a movie with, top-notch fight scenes that has a top-notch plot.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it's either one or the other now, and like one's lacking, but his are very symmetrical in that way. Yeah. I haven't seen all of his, but the ones that I have seen are definitely...
you don't know. He's been making movies since the 80s. Donnie Yen's 52.
He's been busy.
Yeah. He makes like 3 or 4 movies a year these days. But he's a lot older than you think because he just looks the same.
All that experience, he's streamlined the process. He's just
he's got a way of doing things.
And you're like, oh shit, it's Donnie Yen.
Yeah, and it's going to be good. I know it's like I'm going to like something about this film. But this kind of picking heroes if we're going that direction with it. But then let's go the other way. Like, the reason I can do a split between 2 chairs? This is Jean-Claude Van Damme, bruh.
Because you see something absurd or inhuman or something that might be somewhat superhuman or just not normal, and you're like, fuck, that's cool.
Fuck, that's cool. I want to try that.
Or if you see someone do a backflip, you're like, fuck, can I do that?
Yeah, can I figure that out? Yeah.
And then maybe you start trying and bust your ass, and like, if that depends, like,
maybe you figure it out.
Are you gonna get up and try it again, or you say fuck that and walk off?
But inspiration's a cool thing, man, and it motivates you when it turns into motivation to do an action.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I don't know, as a little kid, everyone was like, you should be a computer programmer. Because I was half the size of everybody, and I had asthma, and I was blind. And I'm like, but I want to kick ass.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a computer programmer. I want to fight people like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And, you know, but movies and comic books sort of said, okay, you know, here's your template.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a shot. Have you seen Glass yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude. All right.
Yeah.
Zero spoilers. I just watched it last night.
Yeah.
It's very much that line of, you know, are you going to believe people that say you're not a superhuman, or are you just going to go be superhuman?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like a short, fat kid, and I was just, no one like picked on me, but I was just like insecure about it, blah, blah, whatever. So I was just like, what is the opposite of that?
Yeah. What is the opposite?
What is
like, what do I got to be to not be that?
Yeah. So it's like, I picked up, I really liked Goliath from Gargoyles. The series.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a classic series.
Yeah,
That's a great
dude.
cartoon, man.
Like, he's kind of a darker, classic leader, hero kind of person. Like, he really fulfills that, like,
yeah, he had a very tragic
hero role.
Yeah, tragic hero role. That was a really well done kid version of a tragic hero.
Absolutely. I really bit into that one. So I was like, I guess I started to see that, like, you gotta make the hard decisions too. So like that made me understand that like being a leader, being, you know, the head person in charge isn't always fucking rainbows and butterflies.
No, it's not. But it's a fun place to be if you know how to handle it.
And continue to know how to handle it.
Yeah, and it changes over time. It
and
evolves.
I think maybe that's the thing. Like, he just got faced with, or, you know, Atos, whatever, got faced with some scenario, and they just reacted poorly. And then, like, because of the scale and size of what it is now, like,
you can't apply the old format to the new system, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you never know. It could just be, you know, it's a minor fucking thing, it'll iron out, doesn't matter. It happens all the time now, but it does make you wonder.
But, yeah, it's, you know, that transition phase thing, man.
Yeah.
Is when you're upgrading, you got to figure out the upgrade. You know? And if people don't, then there's kinks in the system, man. Yeah. And being able to bat stuff back and forth with you, I think, helps us prevent the kinks a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we have similar perspectives, but, you know, we're far enough apart, especially now, that we can kind of bring from different angles. It's very cool.
For sure.
So like kind of keep each other online. Something I always used to say is, when I was at the old school, I always felt like I failed it because I didn't keep my master in check. Like, as the number 2 guy, as like the right hand man, that was supposed to be one of my jobs, was to like stop his head from getting too big.
Yeah.
And that's just stupid movie shit. Like, that shouldn't be a thing at all.
That should not.
That should not be a thing. But like, in my head, I wanted, like, that's what I make it. Yeah. And, you know.
Well, I mean, even if it's, you're just a blast shield for the rest of the school, even. Like,
now that I was too, yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, take the brunt of this so no one else has to, and then things will be fucking fine after.
Yeah, character building will be fun.
Yeah, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Well, there's a character there.
Yeah, there's a villain. But like, Goliath, Lino, I mean, you have your standard fucking heroes. Like, that was when... like there's like the line between good and evil was very clear cut, and you were a Thundercat or fucking Mumra, you know.
Yeah, straight up. There's no.
It wasn't like now. It's not like that in real life. People
movies are starting to reflect that more.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad.
Right.
Watch Glass.
Yeah.
But I like that Johnny's a human being. I never thought I would root for that guy, but then I saw season 1 of Cobra Kai, and I was like, well, of course.
Right.
He just got under the bad teacher.
Bad look, yeah.
You know, but he was also a bad student. He took everything in the wrong direction.
Right.
He drank the Kool-Aid and, you know, acted like the bad dude, you know, because...
And that's, I think, another reason why, like, environments will live on for so long.
It's because people just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing you got to be... that's my big gripe as an adult with what Miyagi said. No bad students, just bad teacher. There's plenty of bad students in the world, man.
Oh, hell
Fuck
yeah.
yeah, there are. Tons of bad students, even under good teachers.
And that's literally just because they chose that day to be a bastard or something.
They just chose to be that way. But it comes down to choice of, I come from a town where everyone's on something. Mm-hmm. I've never done any drugs in my life. I've never even smoked pot. Although I lived in Athens, so I breathed down there, but not intentionally, right?
Yeah.
But because I'm just that kind of person, is that I can hang out with thieves and gangsters and people doing all kinds of bad stuff and not do it.
That, and then, but also like not come down on other people.
No, but
you know what I mean?
Not judge them for it either.
Yeah, like that's
what you do. That's your thing, you know. Hey, and I didn't I wasn't preaching to anybody.
Right,
That's
like,
bad. I'm
fucking
like
black belt, whatever. Yeah, I know.
No, I'm not doing that. You can just let people be who they are and maybe watch out for them a little bit if they're doing something dumb,
like reckless. Or,
if they're being, but gotta make your own choices,
right?
And just being able to be that.
And maybe, like that can be another thing too. Is like people think they fulfill that leadership role, and they start chasing after people too much. Like, don't do this, and they just don't let them be their own person enough. Or
not knowing what a leader is.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go to movie examples, that's a sort of a time thing of how was leader represented in this time versus how was leader represented in this time. Mm-hmm. And if you're not a history buff, you don't see the cycle, like how it's a cycle.
Repetition, yeah.
There's, this era, a leader was represented in films or in comics or in books this way. Mm-hmm. In this era, they were actually very different. Mm-hmm. And then you have sort of opposites. You have your outliers in every era. But if you don't dig into, we're both big fans of Simon Sinek. Mm-hmm. I read Leaders Eat Last to my daughter as a bedtime book.
Yeah, that's a great book.
It's a great book, yeah. And we would talk about it.
I gave that one to my dad. He liked it a lot too.
Yeah, and when she does stuff when I'm not there, she'll be in a group and I'll come in and pick her up from somewhere, and parents will be like, "Oh, she's such a good leader." And I'm like, I wonder what she's doing. I wonder if she remembers.
Right.
But having experienced lots of different versions of a leader, or people that were at the front, where they thought it was to tell everyone what to do or to listen and help, or and you kind of get to see all ends of that. Now we get negative, I think, because we've experienced bad leadership.
Sure.
That wasn't real. But then we're smart enough to dig in and find it and be like, oh, okay, that was bad, that was good. How can I be a proper leader? Be a good person.
On top of that, though, too, it's like that was just my background of just getting humility pounded into my head to the point of being unhealthy.
Of humiliation.
Yeah, and just being unhealthy and just being like, well, I don't want to say the L word. I'm not a leader. I'm not a whatever.
Yeah, because you have a negative connotation of that.
Yeah,
like,
so
I
don't want to do that. Yeah. So just shifting that connotation to either positive or just neutral, and just having it be what it is. And
but if you do it right, then you're positive about it.
Right.
It's a good thing. Read that book. Leaders Eat Last is a really good book. It lays it out really well. And if you look at sort of what's in there, it does come down to is find reasons to like people. Listen. Mm-hmm. Make sure everyone else eats before you eat.
Take care of people.
Take care of people, period. And then and that's sort of the Hollywood version of karma. Of it comes back around. If you're good, people are good to you.
Right.
Well, a lot of that's true. Mm-hmm. It really is. A lot of people have given me a lot of things in my life, and I'm super grateful for it. But I don't expect it. I don't do good things because I'm going to get it. But it does come around. And as a martial arts teacher, that's a joke between us.
Yeah.
That happens to you all the time too.
But it's very true.
It is super true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. But I think issues pop up when that gets one way. Just one way.
One way, yeah.
Instead of it's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street, yeah.
And it always needs to be that way.
I think we need to retitle this episode.
You think so?
I don't know. Where are we going with this? We keep trying to go I love this movie, and then we go into, but if you extrapolate all the meaning from that blink and that karate chop.
The philosophy of shitty leaders. What we've learned.
Oh, man, yeah. This is some... shift a little bit. But, someone who's real and a real
leader, I suppose, Teddy Roosevelt. Like, I read a few books.
I love me some Roosevelt. That's my favorite president right there.
Yeah, my grandfather had a ton of books about him, and I snagged a couple and read them, and
Roosevelt's the man, dude.
Talk about someone he was a sickly kid. He was not necessarily healthy, but he would fucking plug through and just do insane shit.
Rough Riders, man, all the way.
He had asthma. But he had just terrible chest.
I mean, and his wife and his mother died on the same day. Yeah. And he just disappeared for a while.
But he lived in accordance with nature.
Yep.
That's what I was like. It was his sense of right, wrong, and what he wanted to do was very clear. And with what he did with conviction, just such I guess I've never experienced that type of wholehearted self, just everything bull forward,
throw it in.
Yeah, I really.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you have, and maybe history will tell a different story.
Right.
Because I'm sure Teddy Roosevelt didn't think much of what he was doing.
Sure.
He was just living his life.
Books and shit. And
yeah.
Yeah.
But on a side note, I heard that Roosevelt was big into fighting. He's big into combat sports.
Oh yeah.
He separated a retina boxing in the White House and was blind in one eye because of it. Mm-hmm. But B, I hope this is true so much. He invited a Jiu Jitsu master to the White House to learn Jiu Jitsu. Do you know who that master brought with him? Maeda.
Was it Maeda? Okay.
Rumor has it that it was Maeda
himself.
Maeda was there, and that the dude that outranked him was, and that's kind of where Maeda split off. Mm-hmm. But yeah, rumor has it, Henzo said that actually, because he loves Roosevelt as well, and I want that to be real.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he directly said it, but he said something along the lines of their grappling or their judo is eons ahead of American grappling or boxing,
yeah.
And that's proving to be true.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very much true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he traveled a lot. So he was exposed to different things, and he was exposed to boxing, wrestling, judo, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, he was
open-minded enough to take it in.
Exactly.
He didn't think too much of himself to say, I'm an American white man, you can't do nothing to me.
He's like,
no, that's really neat. What are you doing?
Yeah. He's an avid big game hunter. He's like, what's the biggest critter on the world? On the fucking face of the planet. I'm gonna go get that fucker.
I'm gonna get after that. Yeah.
Granted, you can't go hunt elephants and shit now, but
it was a different time.
The mentality behind that, I'm gonna go slay the beast of the earth.
Mm-hmm. The mentality is, can you do it?
Right.
It might kill me.
Yeah.
But at least I'll know.
And I believe, I am a bit of a Sasquatcher sometimes, but I believe he had an experience with Sasquatch, Mr. Roosevelt did. So
I would not
he
be
wrote about
surprised.
It in his hunting diaries.
That's the kind of guy that a Sasquatch would come up and chat with.
Right.
I trust you. You cool.
He was talking about the tree knocks and all the consistencies there, and he's like, oh shit, it's my fucking Sasquatch, man.
Yeah, man, it's weird. Gotcha. Yeah. So...
And even that just kind of gives this fun reaffirmation to Sasquatch, so.
Oh, totally. But yeah, I mean, picking a hero, that's a good one. That's one I also picked as well. I love Teddy Roosevelt.
And yeah, I guess boiling down to what the attributes and virtues that you want to portray as a person, you look for the most extreme examples of those in leaders, I think.
Look for those and find them. Yeah, and I mean, and it's, it goes all different directions. Sometimes you find them in somebody else, and then you find other things. But sometimes you find it, and you can put that in yourself. Mm-hmm. I always made the joke, I was always looking for Mr. Miagi. Never really found him, so I decided I think I can become him.
Yeah. That's that saying, you become the leader or the teacher you needed when you were a kid or whatever. And that's something that resonates with me because, even in school, just the way I thought and stuff, wasn't as, I don't want to say rewarded or just as accepted, I guess. Or
yeah, no, it was too outside the box, man.
Yeah, they just weren't really having it, so I shut up at a really early age.
I just learned to whisper jokes to the person next to me.
But just that type of relationship too, with even scholastic teachers can have an impact on it.
Oh, everyone. I mean, and you got a handful of teachers you could think about, be like,
they helped.
That dude helped. That dude sucked. That person was cool.
It's some people,
it boils down to moments.
Yeah, and in retrospect, I had to like look back. I was like, damn, I hated math, but this one math teacher she bust her ass to help me. And like if I could find her on Facebook, I'd write her a message and be like, yo, fucking thanks.
Thank you.
Like, I hate school and all this shit still, but fucking thank you.
Appreciate it.
And then I remember the teachers that made me fucking hate school, like, and the way that made me feel and this and that. So like, circling back to wanting to be a combination of leaders or traits that
being
you want.
a combination of leaders and traits, and then if you start to flesh that out, I'll bring a funny college story of Dr. Gilders, who's a dude I absolutely love, who I used to absolutely hate. Weird immaturity of me, because of that one class he taught. It was just too damn hard, and everything was just so fucking hard. And I thought he had control of that. And I'm like, why would you do that to anybody? You know, I have a lot of other shit. Like, this is dumb. And everyone would be frustrated with it, and everyone would be against him. And it was funny because I was buddies with his daughter. Like, we worked together. And so, like, that was kind of my way in to start seeing him as a human. And I'm like, he's got a kid my age. And I'm like, I can't hate him as much now. But I still hated him. And then he became my advisor. And I'm like, motherfucker. Right, and we go in and we start talking, it ends up, and he knew it. He's on point. He knew it. He like, I'm sure this was where he was going, and he starts talking about bikes, and like, we both like to ride bikes up hills. Like, we both enjoy, like, let's climb a bike up a mountain, and we're talking about that, and then we started talking about that class, and like, you know, because I was I'm not a victim. I screwed up. It's C is the cutoff. You get a C minus even by a point. Sorry about your luck. And that happened to a friend of mine that I knew about, and she was flipping out. Like, I can't believe you can't just give me a... He's like, I gotta draw this line. I gotta draw a line somewhere. It happened to me, and I was like, he's gotta draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got to be friends, and I found all about that, and it reframed how I looked at him. And so sometimes, you know, you can see a hero as one person, and it's half of them. And sometimes you can see a villain as one person, and it's only half of them, and then they kind of come back around, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Just like leadership roles, like I think Vitor does that really well.
He does. Yeah.
He keeps his class in line, and it's about class, and then afterwards, if you want to crack a joke, whatever. It's
funniest thing happened at kids class on Tuesday. So it's a big ass class, right? And they were kind of taking turns drilling this thing, and at one point a bunch of kids were like, I mean, my daughter was like laying on the mat at the time, and the kids were like facing all different directions. He just walks over. Why are you sitting this way? Sit up, stop talking. He didn't yell at anybody. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't even say it. Like, it wasn't even that like that sharp as I just said it. He was just, and everyone just got back in line. Like, he wasn't mad at all. He's just like, what are you doing? Yeah. and it was funny. They were like, okay, Dad. Everyone's back in line. Yeah. And he didn't have to yell. He didn't have to be mad. He just kind of came up and pointed out the fact that everyone's laying around on the mat. Like, what are you doing? They're all like, yeah. I'm like, that's quality leadership right there. That you gave them a chance to fix it themselves because you were busy doing other stuff. Like, he saw it, he knew what was going on, and then he was like, all right, they didn't fix it. All right, come on, guys. Yeah,
and then it's fixed.
And then it's fixed, and then he goes back, and it's fine. And that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I know when I first started taking my daughter there, that was a big cue for me. Of one, he was playing with kids before the class, in between. Kids class and adult class. Huge. That's a huge cue, actually. And I see how he plays with the children. And everyone just thinks he's a big teddy bear. And he's one of the baddest dudes on the planet. Good God. Yeah, smash. But then things like that I never heard him raise his voice. You could look at it if you don't know how to teach a physical class, as I would say, it can look a little unorganized. But if you know what you're looking at, it's very well organized, and everyone's being kept an eye on, and everyone's sort of within the box they need to be in, right? And it was like between him and Laura, I just saw all these cues of. And then the other thing was people stayed in their lane. of Vitor has a role, Laura has a role, the assistant instructors have a role. No one oversteps their boundaries. Not even Vitor, who owns the joint.
But he's respectful of his roles and everything.
Like, I asked him once at the front desk, I was like, I needed to pay something. He goes, I don't do that, man. I don't even know how the computer works.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't like a dick about it. He was just very honest, like, I don't even know how this works. I just teach here, man.
Yeah.
And, and Laura took care of me and just laughed about it. And it's like no one oversteps anyone, and there's no ego about that, which is very neat.
Yeah, I respect that a lot.
And it's I'd like to know how that was set up, because that's a group of secure human beings. That's not that's not just one person from the top. That may be Vitor at the top, but who he's surrounded by and who chose to be with him. And even having Jake come in. And I guess Jake is like world renowned, right? Like, I don't know these things. Yeah. But he just plugged right in. He's super cool.
I think I appreciate him because, like, if it plugs in and it fits, it's like nothing changed. But then if it's not, it's also like, it just, that doesn't work and it's gone. Like,
nothing changes. It just doesn't work. Okay, you tried it. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no grudges held. There's no bad things said. It's just normal.
It's just that.
Just back to normal. Yeah, it's fine.
So yeah, like just various levels of heroes. We got some local
level.
We got some
versus
dead presidents versus some
versus the fantasy. And I mean, John Wick.
Yeah,
John Wick.
I think movies are the spark for all of it. I believe that.
Yeah, movies and comics. Books. Just that story.
Because it is a story, you can exaggerate the goodness or badness, and really get away with it. Whereas people aren't like that in real life.
Yeah, sometimes they are.
Sometimes they fucking are. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people have a split personality, and they're really good and really bad. And
maybe they're just eat a Snickers. Right?
Yeah,
damn.
Yeah, like pick one motherfucker. But yeah, just realizing every leader is human. They put their pants on, their shoes on, just like anyone else too.
Yeah.
As a student, I used to put people on a pedestal. Don't do that.
Yeah. Wow.
And then as an instructor, knowing that I put people on a pedestal, I want it to be like try
to stay off the pedestal.
But I don't want to say stay off the grid, but yeah, stay off the pedestal. But just even if I feel like I'm being put on a pedestal, I'll knock myself down.
Knock yourself back down to human, but still maintain. Because at certain points, it's good to... The little hero worship goes a long way. Of either you're looking up to somebody or someone's looking up to you. And that kind of goes back to the beginning of our conversation, is when that goes too far. But just a little, as a good example, of just being a good example for somebody, and keeping that in check.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I encourage people to travel and train when you travel. I always train all my life. Anytime I've ever traveled is either most of the time I travel was just for tournaments. But if I ever went on vacation or something, my wife makes fun of me because I always bring stuff. Like, I'm ready to train a drop of hat. Like, I'm going to meet somebody. I'm going to train somewhere. It's going to be awesome. And so you get to see how other things work.
Yeah.
And then you get to look back at what you're doing and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your normal gets really expanded. But having good and bad role models can help that. Of having the security to be able to go out and do stuff versus not, or just being able to come back and look at your own situation after having experienced it a different way.
Yep. Yeah. I think once you start to do that and make a habit of it, you can start to do it quicker. Obviously, you can just streamline the process and make things fold into your routine or whatever.
Yeah, how to fold stuff in and how to,
without it, causing too much of a hiccup in your life,
Yeah.
Where you don't need to have weeks and weeks of adjustment time and shit like that. So, but yeah, heroes.
Heroes of sorts. I guess we've thought about it too much, maybe.
Well, even anti-heroes.
Anti-heroes, it's funny because that was a thing, and I was actually reading a little history on anti-heroes, of how they kind of really became a thing after Vietnam. and the sort of tragic, scarred, like Batman kind of overtook Superman in a way, right?
Because of that darkness.
The darkness of, and then element. Like the Punisher being the representation of, I mean, just over generations he fights in different wars. Is they just kind of adapt to whatever war he came out of, for whatever. But how the downside of that is that why you got to be a flawed hero? What happened to the perfect hero? And there's you can't have one. I'm doing something with my hands to quote Ward. You can't have one outweigh the other. Like I'm the Batman scale for sure. I love Batman, but have that perfection of take Bruce Lee for example. I'm reading a really good biography of Bruce Lee right now, and I'll read it before I go to bed. And sometimes my daughter's laying with me, and she reads a little bit of it too. And she goes, "Papa, can I read that when you're done?" And I thought about it for a second. I was like, "Do you want to find out that Bruce is human?" And she kind of looked at me like, "What?" And I just wanted to put that idea in her head, because he's not the perfect superhero that I wanted him to be. And I mean, I've loved that dude my whole life. I thought I knew a lot about him. I know nothing.
Right. Like probably, I'm sure that book is like a fly on the wall.
It's very much. I took the dude that wrote it, did 10 years of research. I mean, it's good.
He did his business.
He did, yeah, it's good, but it's a lot of things of, and Bruce wasn't even close to perfect.
No.
But he did a lot of good things, but he did a lot of not so good things. And like, shit, he's human. I'm glad I got to live my life and not know that. But
I think that helps with like the self-punishment. If you like fuck up something, you're like, all right, I'm human.
I'm human.
Not like you have to punish yourself for messing up something.
But yeah, like, which is the kind of going into sort of, I don't know, bringing your social media aspect into it. That's a nice thing of that, all this behind the scenes stuff that it's so much easy to access now, right?
Yeah.
Is you get to find out that, like my daughter loves BTS. You know how hard those dudes work? They don't just jump on stage and do all those dances and sing and like they have all kinds of practice, and you see them mess up and you see them fall over and you get hurt and just be like, get the camera out of my face, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay. And you get to see them just like, oh wait, they're just kids.
Yeah. It's like a weird personal example. Like one of my friends, when she was in school, had she was like a videography major. She was starting to make movies and shit. And now she's working on shows. It's super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But she was kind of like doing like an assignment, and I was an extra in the fucking thing. Me and her sister. So we like sit there. We just pretend like we're drinking at a bar. Like that's what we're doing, and just chatting. You can't even hear what we're saying. It's just you want to see our mouths moving. They had to do that tiny thing like 15 times
to get it right,
to get the one mouth motion or something correct.
That was cool. Yeah.
So like, and that was just that tiny 2-second spurt, and of a 2-hour movie. So like the whole process of that going in, I was like, oh dang, like this is like
one scene takes 15 hours to shoot.
Like no wonder they have to like get in like hair and makeup at 2 a.m. and be in there. Like now I granted that's probably an industry that I'll never be in and really deal with. But like
the hair's getting good, man.
You never know.
Yeah, it can happen.
But just having a respect in that I can observe it and then kind of take from it and be like, oh, like this process, like it's not just going to give me a polished movie the first time, right?
You don't just go out and let's just do it. Boom.
Yeah, it's going to be a trial and error, and like some things we fucked up, and you can fix it. Like that's just a very like different example. We always like to harp on martial arts, so different industry. Different industry,
right? But the amount of work that goes into getting it right.
Yeah, and just understanding.
And that's like
a lot goes into a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's the upside of
a lot goes into making podcasts.
A lot goes into making podcasts. That's what I was doing this morning. But that's kind of the upside of if you find out your heroes are human. Of that, if they are good leaders, if they are good people, they let you in on they let you pull the curtain back, and they're cool with it. Yeah. It's like, here's how many times I had to work on that for this many years to make it smooth and beautiful what you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, it doesn't just happen. Yeah, I did wake up one day and was able to do it, but it's because I woke up every other day and did it. Yeah, until they got it right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's a neat thing. If you have someone you look up to that then lets you see them fall on their face and gets up with some dignity and was like, "Yep, that's part of it." Guess how you get good?
Yeah. My first tournament that I did when I was coaching at Endeavor, like that was the first time I competed there, and I was like, "Got to prove something, right?" Or I got choked in the first match. And I got up, was fucking whatever, didn't think much of it. When I won the second match, and then whatever, it was fine. I think I got like third or something stupid because I just lost that first match. But
at least it was round.
I lost. I got up. I shook it off. Whatever. Went and did the next thing. And like, I think if I had gotten up and was all like pissed off and shit, it would have been a very different environment.
Example, yeah,
going on from that point. So I think.
But yeah, it's just to set the mood of it's not a big deal. This is a learning process.
And like, people were like, "Oh, I did this in this tournament." I'm like, okay, but so go do another tournament and another one and another one, so that statistically
you'll get better.
Yeah. You just keep doing it. Like, and that's so cliche with jiu-jitsu, but like that's for real.
That's one of those cliches that over time you figure it out.
Yeah, and you're like, God damn it.
Like, you're freaking right.
He was a cliche and he was right.
Yeah, that's why it's a cliche. Man.
That I'm finding out to be a lot of those to be true in life.
Yeah, and we getting near the end.
Yeah.
All right, so this went in
interesting
direction.
I think it was meant to kind of be more of like a movies, books, fun thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a lighthearted, movie romp.
Took a little more philosophical.
It went way philosophical.
I like it, though. It was cool.
That was fun. That's part of why I want to keep the podcast in the chairs.
Yeah.
Is that because this is a lot easier to happen if we're just sitting here drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Which is very good.
That's how it is.
So.
It's organic.
Yeah.
Fuck, what did I want to say?
Huh?
Nah. Okay. Now. Yeah, probably gotta wrap up here soon.
Yeah, about done. Gotta do the things.
But keep an eye out for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah.
All sorts of promos.
Stuff.
And,
try to do things.
More stuff coming.
Let us know. Stuff.
Let us know when you listen. Stuff you like, don't like. And then, of course, as always, keep your coffee regular.
Yeah, and peace in. Yeah. All right. See you guys later.
Have a great day.